in Lansing.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate everybody for joining us once again. DeShaun Tate here with another episode 17 of Tate's Take. And as I previously teased on yesterday's show, that we're going to have a very special guest, Larry Johnson, president. No, not the grandmama, Larry Johnson. I got a good feeling you hear that all the time when you got your bookings and different things.
Yes.
No, not the grandmama, but yet still a very, very special, especially for me coming from the same hometown here in Lansing, Michigan, where I reside, and or for right now, anyways. Which is, obviously, like I said, very, very special, and the president and CEO of Brothers Against Drugs, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Brotherhood
against drugs. Excuse me. Yes. So as we get ready to formally bring him on and bring up his there we go. Make sure we got a nice little graphic there. Who's in the locker room with us, Larry Johnson. Appreciate you for coming on with me this morning.
DeShaun, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. It's been a long time since we saw each other, so it's great.
It has. I think the last time I saw you, and God rest his soul, was the celebration of life of Earl Robinson.
Yes,
and we were in East Lansing. Prior to that, I think I saw you at Summer League in Las Vegas.
Yes, sir.
And I'll say this much. Now, before that, it had been a while. I'm gonna test your memory because I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember this, but honestly, it was one of my best days, and I'll explain to you why here. So, I was told by my principal when I was at Walter French in like 2002 or 2003, Bernard Crawford, that that Magic's brother Larry was going to be taking 2 or 3 different individuals as far as the youth and seniors. So I think it was 2003 on a trip to the Palace of Auburn Hills for a Pistons game where they played the Timberwolves and Kevin Garnett on that team. Now, I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm never lucky enough to do a lot of that stuff. I'm not the guy that get a chance to win the lottery and none of that type of stuff. So I felt like I just hit the big one, at that point. So I definitely just want to give another thank you to that for just allowing me to be a part of that, because I had a really awesome time.
Wow, DeShaun, thank you so much, man. That did bring back some memories, man. The one thing that I always, when I started this organization, was to help our young people to be able to be able to have a chance to go to a professional sport like basketball or football that they probably would never be able to do. But once you put that into their once you take them there and give them that exposure. I mean, and now look at yourself today, what you're doing today, man. I'm not going to say that I was part of that, but I'm going to say I gave you that opportunity to see in the professional arena how wonderful it can be if that's what you want to do in life.
You know what? And you were definitely a huge part of that, and just giving me a feeling that, that there's hope, that somebody cares, especially being someone of color, who's ambitious and wants to do something with their life that can make someone else proud. So I appreciate you for paying it forward. And as I'm getting older and in my profession, I like to think that I'm doing the same thing. So I really do appreciate that. Let's go over this mission a little bit in regards to Brotherhood Against Drugs. Is to help all people who are struggling with the effects of addiction and bullying through sharing a program of recovery inspired with the power of God's love to guide them in turning their life around. Expound on that a little bit for some of the viewers and the listeners so that they can have a really good feel and what it takes to maybe be a part of this program if they know someone or if they themselves happen to be struggling with addiction, amongst other things.
Yeah, I have to start out, DeShaun, that I was out in the streets, man. I was out there. I was facing 20 to 40 years in prison, and God changed my life, man. I ended up doing some county time instead of going to prison. And when I got out, I wanted to give back. I wanted to do something for the young people, the young people, to help them that were struggling through this thing called addiction. And so I started this organization. Jimmy Battle and myself started Brotherhood Against Drugs back in '94. Um, and so now, what I do is I go all around the world. I speak on addiction and how to get out of addiction, how to get away from that, the alcohol and drugs and bullying. And so I've been doing this now 21 years clean by the grace of God. And I give my story. I tell my testimony. I let them know that, you have to be able to surrender to this thing, because if you don't surrender, I saw too many people die from this addiction. And so um, Brotherhood Against Drugs has been going strong now since '94. And if anyone, I have a phone number, I have a website they can go to be able to help them. I can help them get in treatment, and learn and help them to understand that you too you can beat this addiction.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because with there's being so much going on in the world today, I can only imagine some people have a little bit too much spare time on their hands, and frustration is really setting in, where a lot of
Yes.
people are kind of turning to drugs. When you're looking at
Yeah.
the unemployment rate and things of that
Hmm.
nature, and then just so much other stuff going on, racial injustice and so forth. Um, is it the website there on the bottom that I have stated? Is that brotherhoodagainstdrugs.com, or do you have more information?
No, Deshaun, that's the right information that you have on the bottom of the screen.
Okay, and I appreciate that. And for anybody that, like I said, may be struggling themselves, how do you deal with in regards to when you're talking to different people, as you're motivational speaking, and you're talking with different people in regards to how to make them comfortable to come to you? Because I'm sure people feel like it's embarrassing, or they want the help but they don't want to be judged or so forth. What kind of conversations do you have with people that are facing those similar type of things, and kind of encourage them that this is a thing that really can be done? Because it's an addiction, much like anything else. Some people have addictions to shopping or sports or just so many
Hmm.
different things. What kind of conversations do you have with those people to kind of make them feel comfortable?
Well, one thing that I let people know, I don't sugarcoat my message, you know. And so when you get to that point that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, man, the conversation is what you gonna do about it,
Mhm.
And so I used to tell people I wasn't scared to hang out in front of Kalamazoo and Butler when I was looking for my drugs. So why would I be scared now to get recovery, And so if you're sincere and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then the message is you got to come on in. You got to let go and let God. And that's my biggest thing, DeShaun, is that I had to put God in my life, you know. And until I did that, I was going to continue to struggle. But now that I had put God in my life, and that's what I let individuals know. When you're tired of doing something, let's do something different. When you're tired of doing the same things, let's try something different, something that's going to work for you. And so that's where I come in when I say, I'm going to tell you the real. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything.
Now, oftentimes, I hear first of all, with saying being tired, it's one thing to be sick and tired. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But to
Hmm.
be sick and tired of being sick and tired, you got to go to a whole different level within
Yes,
yourself
sir.
to kind of channel that energy to make some change. And that ultimately is what it's about, because change is not easy, but change is necessary.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm glad that you have, certainly mentioned some of those things. Now, in regards to more about your website and things that you're doing within the community, I saw back in February you went to Florida Gulf Coast, which I think is in Fort Myers, Florida.
Flip Myers. Yes, sir.
How
Yes, sir.
talk a little bit about what that experience was like, besides the beautiful weather.
Well, it was definitely a blessing for me. This was my second time going to Fort Myers, speaking at Gulf Coast University. and speaking to the basketball team and letting them young guys know, man, I talked a little bit about what Magic done back in the day, how we used to have the one-on-one games and it was good to bring back some memories and to help them to understand how you have to work hard to get where you're at, right?
Hmm.
Especially with Earvin, how I talked to them about how he was used to dribble the ball down the street. How when he got into the gym, he worked hard. It was about the game first, and that's what got him to where he at today. And so, talking to those young men about that, they really appreciated me doing that to help them understand that in order to go to the next stage in life in basketball, you have to work hard. But also, I spoke at a youth facility called Saline Care. Celine Care was a rehab center, and the youngest girl there was 13 years old, and it like blew me out the waters, man, to see her, and but again, I didn't sugarcoat my message. After I got done, they told me, man, we're so proud of because I had on one side adults, and on the other side we had kids, and they were saying we was wondering how you was gonna be able to tie the two in together.
Hmm.
Well, I tell you, man, when I had the young people talking about their strength, their experience, and their strength and their hope, and letting the young people hear that,
Hmm.
it made a big difference. Plus, with my story, adding my story onto that. So again, when I have to come when I come with the real, what happened to me back in the day, and what's happening to me now, then people get a sense of, man, if he can do it, I can do it.
You know what? And I think that we all, kind of feel that way in our personal lives with certain things. I know I certainly feel the same way where, I won't go as far as saying that, I'm embarrassed by not having that finish, degree or collegiate education,
Hmm.
which I at some point certainly hope to go back and do. But to be a person who is just really passionate about this line of work and knowing where I come from and, a small city in Lansing, Michigan, and just maybe not, on all these big time networks or whatever, but just to know that I'm taking steps and making some progress and have accomplished some really good things within my own personal life.
Yeah,
I kind of had that same feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it.
yeah,
Despite
yeah.
what you may, it's not really about what you don't have. Just worry
Hmm.
about what you do have, and then take steps towards the things that you don't
Yes,
have. So uh,
yes.
I definitely, there's certainly a connection there. One thing that you mentioned is we got probably just about two or three more questions here for you. Try and make it as quick as possible. You guys
You're
are
fine.
watching.
You're fine.
You guys are watching Tate's Take with DeShaun Tate. Of course, we got my dude Larry Johnson, president and CEO of Brotherhood Against Drugs, here in the locker room with us. Gracious that he had the opportunity to go on and join us. Um, One of the things that you mentioned your brother Earvin, which is the crazy part about it is that me coming from, when you're in Lansing and you say Earvin, people, it's not a magic thing. It's Earvin.
No, no, right, right.
That's the crazy thing about it. So I go other places. I'm so used to saying Earvin, and they're like, Earvin who? But 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 this may be the most recognizable nickname in probably all of sports, I would imagine,
Yes,
because you
yes.
say magic and now everybody knows. Oh, why didn't you just say that? The first time.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that being your brother, you mentioned, I didn't bring it up. You mentioned some of those talks about, guys playing one on one. Who got the best out of those battles? Did you have to kind of show them what's up? What kind of cool, interesting story do you have to tell about some of those one on one battles?
And they were hard battles. They was hard battles, right? I always tell people that when I was playing, I was named I named myself Earl the Pearl Monroe. That was my dude, right? That was
Okay.
my guy. And I come down and do the no look and all that, right? And so when I do my talks, I let people know Magic and Izell and Bird didn't start the no look pass. It was Larry Johnson that started the no look pass, right? But I just didn't get that recognition. But Deshaun, it was wonderful growing up with him, man. I I could have played. I could have went farther in playing the game, but I had my own issues why I didn't do that. But I look back at my brother today, man, and Man, I have to share this with you guys. Um, we went down and Michigan State played North Carolina on the ship down in San Diego on the Navy ship.
Correct.
That back in what was that, 2000,
2012 or some 11 or 10, something in
yeah,
that range. I remember.
2011 exactly. And the president of the United States, President Obama, was on at the game. And so Earvin says to me, "Come on, man, I'm going to introduce you to the president." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah. So he just walked past the Secret Service man, and they were like, "How you doing, Magic? How you doing, Magic?" I had never seen that in my life. That one individual that showed me how powerful this guy was, right? For the Secret Service to say, "How you doing, Magic?" and just let him walk through to go see the president.
Yeah,
I had never, so that showed me a lot about my brother, man. And to this day, man, I love him to death. We did some big good things together. I worked for him for 10 years in LA before I moved back to Michigan to help take care of my dad, and I learned so much from him. So much from him.
I got a good feeling, Larry, that if my brother tried to walk me over to the president and pass the Secret Service, not only will they not know who I am, but I don't got a good feeling that we're gonna be there very much longer. I can pretty much promise you that. But someday we're gonna keep our fingers and our toes crossed, our T's crossed, I's crossed, everything crossed. Maybe we can get there someday. Just finishing up with a few more questions for you.
Okay.
One thing while we're still talking about Magic is, there's been an announcement that there's going to be a release of a Magic Johnson documentary coming up next year for 2021. What are some of the things that you personally would like to see in there or included that maybe a lot of people, with you not being his brother, that, a lot of people maybe didn't see about Magic or don't really know about Magic, that is really, has always been something that, you wish that you could put in the forefront, maybe if you were like the producer or the director, that you really want people to know about your brother, that you hope that we have a chance to see?
One thing that sticks out for me is that he put 130 kids through college, right? And so he's the type of guy who would never talk about that. But I think that's something that people need to understand, is that this guy is more about the communities than about himself. We for the last 3 years, we gave out over 6,000 turkeys in Lansing, Detroit, Flint, and Lansing. We gave out 2,000 turkeys in each city, along with the groceries that go with that. And then twice he gave 200 bicycles to kids in Lansing. He donated 200 bicycles to kids in Lansing and kids in Flint. These are the type of things you don't hear about.
Yes.
Yes. And these are the type of things that I would definitely want them to put in there about how he is big with the communities.
Larry, let me tell you something. You just said a mouthful, because I want to share something short with you that maybe you did or maybe didn't know about. I'm so glad that you mentioned what you did, because not necessarily saying that I learned this from my parents, because I didn't, but me being from Lansing, I grew up believing, just in all honesty, because of the people that were around me, who I'm not going to say were necessarily bad people, but they probably felt the same way and hung around a lot of people that felt the same way, that Magic Johnson does not do anything for our community. That Magic Johnson does not do anything for Lansing, Michigan. That because there was no Magic Johnson theater or no restaurant, this and that, there was that in LA. There was that in Atlanta, but we didn't see that in Lansing. And I'll be honest, I grew up being ignorant, okay, just a lack of not knowing, that Magic Johnson didn't do anything where I came from. Now, what it took me to happen was that it took me to get older and to realize that things are being done, number one. Number two, that sometimes things are done that you have no idea where those opportunities came from. It could
That's
be that
right.
exact same person that you believe didn't do something for your community that is giving you that opportunity to receive that. And not
Mhm.
everybody needs to go around and kind of showcase exactly, hey, it was me as the person that provided this. Um,
Yes,
but I
yes.
just kind of want to get your, and you kind of mentioned that, but I definitely want to share that with you because there may be even some cases where Magic Johnson tried to do certain things, Earvin tried to do certain things, or other people tried to do certain things and were denied opportunity.
Yes.
But I want you to just speak a little bit on that little bit that I just said before I get into my last question, because that's a real thing. I'm not I
Mhm.
never been a person that felt like Earvin owed anybody anything. He put that
Mhm.
basketball in that hoop himself.
Yeah.
You make that money, you decide what you want to do with it. You're not obligated. That's just the way that I think as a person.
Mhm.
But I grew up around that and believing that until I got to a point where I was old enough. What says you towards that?
Well, here's the thing, is DeShaun, is that we were brought up to not to be that type of person that always brag about what we do, you know. And your blessings come from what God has given you, but you give back, not saying that, oh, I'm gonna do this because I want to be known for doing this. That's not the case here. And what you just said, I have heard that from people. Your brother ain't did nothing in this community, and I said, no, that's where you're wrong. See, you need to do, if you do your homework, you'll understand what this man is doing, not only in Lansing but all over the world.
Mhm.
And so I'm quick to put a person in their place when they say, well, your brother ain't did this or did that. And then I'll tell them where to go. Go to this website, go to the Magic Johnson website and look at what all he's doing. And then come back to me and say, man, you know what? You're right. So I'm not the type of person that's going to argue with an individual, go back and forth with that. I'm just going to direct you
Mhm.
to where you can go find this information and then come back.
Well, you know what? I'm really glad that you said that, brother, because I had to educate myself. And there was a lot of people that really, believed that and felt like, hey, yeah,
Hmm.
we see a Starbucks, but the hood doesn't see Starbucks, or
Yeah.
there's more being done in East Lansing than anywhere. But I'm
Yeah.
glad that you mentioned that because that's very, very important, and I've certainly learned that within myself. Last question
Yeah.
here with Larry Johnson, President and CEO of Brotherhood Against Drugs. You find it right there down at the bottom of that website, brotherhoodagainstdrugs.com. Um, your brother, I'm sorry, your father, Father's Day just passed on Sunday over the weekend, probably about 5 or 6 days ago. You had the opportunity to spend some time with your dad. Um, that's a big, big part of families. Talk a little bit about
Yes.
his leadership and some of his philosophies growing up to where you guys are now in the positions that you are. And you already kind of talked about how you guys were raised a little bit. Elaborate on that just a little bit before I get you out of here.
Yeah. Well, my dad, I tip my hat to him because he worked 3 jobs to take care of 10 kids, right? And he would come home sometimes, man, and be so tired from one job to another that he would put some food on the stove and fall asleep, man, because he'd be so tired, man. But he always taught us work ethics. If how you do things is how you it's going to help you in as you get older, right? As for instance, on his trash truck, if we didn't clean out an area, if we didn't clean the area the way it's supposed to be clean, he would make us go back and do it. You know, um, he was that kind of person, man, that he believed in doing it the first time the right way, and that's the way we've been taught, and that's the way we are today. Is doing it the first time the right way, so you don't have to go back over it. And that's what I'm teaching my kids. I'm teaching my grandson. It's the same thing, Um, man, for a guy that had 10 kids in a 3 bedroom home with one bathroom, we were never late for school. We never wanted for anything because he taught us how to be a provider. He was a provider. And that's why today I moved back from California to Lansing to help take care of my dad, because that man took care of me for all these years and helped me through life. And man, what a wonderful guy he is.
Man, that's a mouthful all in itself, man. And And shout out and credit, tons of credit to your dad. I can't imagine having to get 10 heads ready in the morning, one bathroom. Yeah, nah, not the way my sister get ready. And I only got one, so I can tell you now. I appreciate you, man. Larry Johnson,
Yeah,
man, President and
man.
CEO of Brotherhood Against Drugs. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, DeShaun. Love you, man, and God bless you.
I love you as well. We're gonna have to connect at some point, man, before I get up out of here. In the event, you know what I mean, that some things open up a little bit, and I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm gonna be here
yeah.
for a few weeks, but looking
Okay.
forward to connecting with you hopefully at some point. Larry
All
Johnson,
right.
appreciate you, brother.
God bless you. Take care.
You as well.
All right.
Thank you. That was Larry Johnson, brother of Magic Johnson, Earvin Magic Johnson, that is. Appreciate everybody for kind of checking that out and being thankful and grateful that we did have the opportunity to bring him on and pick his brain and listen to him share some of his dad's philosophies, some talks about some different things that sharing some stuff with us about him, relationship between he and his brother Magic, and some of the things that he's doing in the community. And I think what really probably for me hits home more than anything else is probably the fact that Brotherhood Against Drugs, again, you can go brotherhoodagainstdrugs.com, is very, very important to, I feel like anyways, maybe not every single person, but a good bit of us, not somebody cannot help everybody, but everybody can help somebody. And, for Larry to put this in place, I like to think we all either know someone who is recovering addicts, or haven't thought about being a recovering addict just yet, or know someone that may know someone else who is in that similar position. So remember brotherhoodagainstdrugs.com. And Larry, being a motivational speaker, again, president and CEO, did a phenomenal and outstanding job, and even talked a little bit, about so many different things. I wanted to get him on and have the opportunity to kind of talk about the racial injustice and different things that has gone on within not just the community here in Lansing, Michigan, more so, but just as far as the protesting, the peaceful protesting, and so many of those different things that are happening, and the importance of voting. Hopefully we'll have the opportunity to bring him on another time. I hope you guys certainly enjoyed this special, especially for me, episode of Tate's Take, episode number 17 with Larry Johnson. One more episode in number 18, likely to take place tomorrow. I think I'm trying to do something tomorrow. So keep your eyes and your ears open for that, as we're going to get into some more basketball related things, and just kind of look ahead to some stuff that could be, coming down from the NBA in terms of a season resumption update. So appreciate everybody for checking in with us. And remember, there's only one take, and that's Tate's Take, hashtag where basketball lives. Until tomorrow, in a minute.